You want me to put that on my todger?
Harry's wife. You're blocked. Harry's wife is increasingly annoying people. I know that she irritates all of you as a consequence of her entitled behaviour, her hypocrisy, her contrarian ways, her ridiculous fashion, the way that she marches into places believing that she owns the place, that she belongs there, when she clearly doesn't. There's lots of reasons to dislike her, and they're all based on the way that she behaves. But increasingly so, she's become a figure of ridicule amongst the great and powerful. We know that Harry's wife fancies a tilt at politics. Why? Well, as a narcissist, politics caters excellently well to the prime aims. It provides not only lots of people to control, but the means of doing so through the wielding of political or governmental power. It means bolting on potentially millions of people to the fuel matrix, and thus receiving oodles of fuel. It provides the opportunity to meet more people and thus acquire character traits through the job, and of course residual benefits. That would be access to certain networks, potentially financial benefits also, and the management of a facade. Politics is a major draw to narcissists. It caters so well to the prime aims, and invariably, in order to survive in a political environment, a lot of the time, though not always, but a lot of the time, you need to be a narcissist to get through all of the shit that's going on, generated by all the other narcissists in that environment. You might therefore think that Harry's wife would be well suited to politics. Well, her narcissism tells her that she is. Her narcissism deludes her into believing that she will bring something new to the party, that she will be an excellent politician that's there to empower people because, after all, she's a strong, independent feminist who has only ever relied on men throughout all of her life to pay for things, provide her with things, and to leech from them. She believes that she is somebody that would bring a new voice to the political spectrum. This, of course, is utter hogwash. Lazy, of limited cognitive function, and with her brand of narcissism unable to navigate its way through the twists and turns and the vagaries of the political landscape, she wouldn't last 5 minutes. But that isn't going to stop her attempting to get there, because her narcissism essentially keeps whispering, you can do it, you'll be a good politician. Because it wants her to go for it, because it's a brilliant way of getting to the prime aims. But as she attempts to force herself into the political environment, she's not been doing so well. As I've explained previously, the Obamas thought, you can fuck that shit sky high, we're not being involved with that clown. The Bidens have distanced themselves, for instance, not letting her on Air Force One, not giving her the time of day. It's also been the case that the Pelosi's have thought, we didn't get to where we've got to by hanging around with goons like Harry's wife. It's a firm no. And this time, it's Gavin Newsom's turn to turn around and say, no, I don't want any involvement with Harry's wife. And the reason that he's done so is again based upon her behaviour. She has been hoovering him repeatedly. He will pop up on her radar, and that's done in order to cause her to then try and approach him for the purposes of asserting control over him, drawing fuel by way of his responses, but accessing the residual benefit of getting him to endorse her or support her or pull the relevant strings so that she has a good chance of being a shoo-in for an outgoing senator. This information has recently come to light as a consequence of disclosures from Lady Colin Campbell, who has explained in an interview with GB News talking to Dan Wooten that Gavin Newsom has instructed that Harry's wife's calls are not to be passed on to him, and he has personally blocked her from his mobile phone. Yet more success for Harry's wife. Yes, the governor of California, a Democrat, has turned around and say, don't let that woman's calls through to me. I've no idea if that sounds like Gavin Newsom, and I don't care. But the fact is, he has given the instruction that when she calls, hoovers, attempting a direct assertion of control over him, he said, "I'm not taking her calls." He's also blocked her on the mobile phone so that, again, the Hoovers, done that way, fail. Now, it's interesting as to how she has gained his mobile phone number, but that's a rumination for another occasion. The fact is, he recognizes that she's useless. He recognizes that she's a pain in the backside because she has been persistently harassing him. Lady Colin Campbell explained that Californian Governor Newsom has done this after being harassed by Harry's wife. Thus, she has evidently, repeatedly been ringing to speak to him, texting him, calling him on his mobile phone. He's a busy man. And not only that, he doesn't want to be involving himself with someone deeply unpopular. At the end of the day, he's got his own political aspirations to attend to, and that doesn't include being dragged down by the likelihood of an albatross around the neck that is Harry's wife. He doesn't want to be seen to be allied with her, associated with her, because it's simply not a good look. He hasn't got to where he's got without making savvy decisions, and like the Obamas and the Bidens and the Pelosi's, he recognises a polished turd when he sees one. According to Lady Colin Campbell, the Duchess of Sussex has put forward to Newsom the idea to fill the vacancy that will be left by Senator Dianne Feinstein at the 2024 election. Harry's wife wants to be parachuted in as a Californian senator, as the seat gives her access to the Intelligence Committee, and this would then result in her getting the IP status back, which of course would be a further residual benefit. It also would alleviate much of the security costs that they're experiencing, which is a drain upon their finances. However, it's reported that the Democrats are simply not interested in Harry's wife and her insistent attempts to enter politics. They clearly recognise a dead duck when they see one. Lady Colin Campbell also stated that she's outsmarted herself because they've had enough of her and they don't want to know. She's been told no, and she's incredibly persistent. Why is she incredibly persistent? Well, because she has that sense of entitlement, that she doesn't recognise boundaries, that she has no accountability for her behaviour, that she has no sense of emotional empathy for how her persistent harassment affects anybody else, because her narcissism tells her, you need to assert control over this individual, get in touch with them. Remember, she doesn't think of it in terms of control. She simply sees it as, I want to enter politics, this man can help me, he should take my calls. I'm Harry's wife, everybody should be taking my calls. I'm access all areas. Royal author Phil Dampier also explained that Harry's wife is not cut out to be a politician or as a potential president. He explained, I honestly think her best bet would be to stick to the lifestyle, do some commercial things like that. I don't think she's cut out to be a politician. Trump was an exception. Lots of people have been asking him for years to stand as president, but he was someone who was able to come in it and do it without any political experience. Ronald Reagan was involved with the Actors Union in Hollywood. Then he became governor of California for 8 years. Clinton was a senator before, and I don't think she's got the hard work ethic to do all the groundwork to make her a potential president. Well, that's entirely correct. Harry's wife is lazy, and she expects things to be given to her. But her political ambitions have been kicked in the teeth once again, as this time, as a consequence of her incessant hoovering and entitled behaviour, it's Gavin Newsom who's turned round and saying, I don't want anything to do with Harry's wife. She's blocked. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.